Hello everyone, it's me Vub again, and I'm going to explain to you the battle. So, first things first, we'll start with the army and the structure, and then the units. So, we'll start with this French army over here. So, first things first, depending on the size of the game, we'll either have one player in each division for a brigade or for the whole army or a corps. So, each brigade probably has 2 to 3,000 men. Each division probably has 10 to 20,000 men. Each corps has about 40 to 50,000 men. Each army has about 100,000 plus, like whatever. Each thing is interchangeable. Nothing is completely strict. It just really depends on the organization of the army. So, one player would be playing Napoleon, and he'd either directly command a couple brigades, or he wouldn't directly command anything. And then we'd have the rest of the players playing divisions. And so, Napoleon's job as the player is to send out these orders and dispatches to all of his subordinates and tell them what he wants them to do, and then they do it, just like real life. It's nothing different. Their job's to take what he told them, so he's gonna give them a vague order like attack Gera and capture it, and their job is to then translate those orders to action. Okay, we're gonna go do this, but more on orders later. So infantry. Each infantry has 3 manpower, 3 morale, 3 ammo. Unless it's guard, it has 4. Each ammo, boom, it shoots. So each 15 minutes it goes out of 1. 45 minutes of combat, then it needs resupply. Next is manpower. You can detach skirmishers from regiments. You can detach grenadiers. And these are 2 companies. If you detach both companies, the regiment decreases 1 size. So each size is about 100 to 200 men. Each battalion has about 500 men in it. This is about small size one has about like 50 to about 100 to 50 to 200 men. This is about 250 to 350, 400, and this is 4 to 500, sometimes 550, but anything above 5. Sometimes if it could be 6, depending, but this is about 500 men. Uh, Cavalry all is the same, 2 strength. It's about 50 men, so this is like 50 to 70 is about 100 to 120, and that's about because of course squadrons are smaller and they're more fragile. Artillery, 2 sections, 3 guns per section, 6 guns total, 3 shot and 3 canister. Dragoons can shoot. So can chasseurs et cheval, but most cavalry can't shoot. They are armed with pistols, which is very short range, but yeah. That's about the same for the entire army. You got your sappers and stuff. Um, so hussars, very good at scouting. You can detach these dudes and do some scouting. These are very So you can like use hussars to charge around the flanks of enemy. They're light cav, and the way you determine cavalry is about the size of the horses and not the gear which they carry. So light cav, like small horses, fast horses. Dragoons, bigger, beefier horses. They have carbines and sabers. They can dismount. They when they fight, they are poorer quality infantry, which are smaller, but it's infantry nonetheless. Um, Yeah, they are pretty good at anti-infantry and anti-cavalry. Lancers is kind of a mix between the speed of a Hussar and the damaging power of a Dragoon, maybe even a little bit more because of the lances. Very good. And Cuirassiers is kind of a mix of all 3. It's slower than all 3 of these, but it has the most damage. Very good anti-cav, anti-infantry. Pretty good anti-cav, anti-infantry. Also pretty good anti-cav, anti-infantry. This is kind of like worse at all 3, but it's very fast, very good at scouting. So yeah, use this for scouting and flanking. Use this for flanking and shooting and like charging. Use this for charging. Use this for charging. Generals, uh, Brigadier General, Division General, Corps General, Army General. That's about it. Horse artillery, a lot faster than artillery. This is 6 guns. This is 3 guns. You can detach sections. You can detach companies. You can detach squadrons. So, how to draft and make orders. So, if you look into your orders channel, you'll be able to make orders. And it'll start from the time that you make the order, who it's from, which is the player it's sending from, and who you're sending it to. So, Napoleon, the 3rd Division. And so, here's 3 different orders: a very specific order, an in between order, which is pretty good, and then a really shitty order. So first order, if you want to read it, is at 1200 hours. At 1200 hours, you are to move west along the main road near the river. Once you reach the villa of blah blah blah, you will move southwest towards blah blah blah, and then hold the high ground. Yeah. So basically, that is saying exactly what it wants you to do. Go here, boom, hold the high ground. This one is what it said was just move right along the river and stop at the. It said move right of the river and go stop at the decline. It was a very shit order. And then here's the middle. Advance towards boom, this place, and engage enemy lines, which basically means boom. So all 3 of these orders have their places. Um, Let me just rewrite this order. So advance to the villa and attack. Advance to the villa. Advance to the small house. Then turn right and hold. Pretty shitty order. Good order. Good order. Better order. So where would I recommend this? Never do a very bad order. Get that out the way. Delete that. There's 2 thoughts on how to do orders. You can do it very specific or down to the point. What you want to do is you want to do both, and this is kind of both. You want to do a specific order using things on the map, but you want to make it short and concise. So this would be good. This would be a very good order. This is what umpires love: bigger orders, like exactly what you want them to do, send them out. This is like pretty good. It's short, concise, exactly what you want it to do. Personally, if I had to rank them, this one would go on top, but you know, let's say this would probably be from Napoleon to his subordinates, and this one will be from the divisional general to his people. Because Napoleon, I would probably like if both orders were this, like, so he gives them the order, so player to player, and then he's like, okay, player to AI. You don't like the player doesn't have to copy the orders, but the whole point of Napoleon is he has a vision of the entire battlefield, and then the division and generals have this much. So Napoleon sees this, and he's like, okay, I want this, I want this, I want this. But the division player sees this. So Napoleon has to tell them what to do, get them to do it. And so I would recommend doing larger, like, not specifically larger, but specific orders that are airtight and shit like that. So like it's specific and they know what to do. Both of these work. Let's say this is not the complete order, but at fucking 1200 hours, advance towards engage enemy lines. Push them back to Guerra. Split the era. This would be a pretty good order. The time, boom. Where do you want them to go exactly? Boom. Engage enemy lines. What you want them to do? Boom. Both of these say the same shit. This one's shorter. This one's longer. This one's a little bit more specific. This one's pretty specific. Both works. And if you want to be more roleplay, do this. If you want to be more like this is roleplay and action. If you mainly just want the action, probably just this. So that's order and structure. So every time you do a dispatch, I will send out a courier, and they will go across the map. Blah 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 blah. And depending how far away you are, like if you two are within the same square, like here, it'll take no turns whatsoever. Like boom, like you can walk over. But if you're more than 6 squares away, which is like 2,000 paces, it'll take like 2 turns or more. Um, we're gonna go over reserves. Let's say I had this division. Let's say I had 2 divisions, right? I wanted you to be the main division attacking. You don't. It's very recommended not to have all of your troops attacking at once. Because boom, I want to attack here. Let's say I had this guy over here too, and then enemy was all along here. And if I lost this, my entire force would be gone. But if I lost this, I'd still have a reserve. Or what I could do is, we make a plan. Okay, we're gonna attack here and here and here. And let's say I do good here, and I start breaking through, but my units start running out of steam. Right? I start losing the initiative, bring in the reserves. Ka-chow! Break straight through. Right? It's a good plan. It works. It's historical. But let's say I want to do the same thing, but I had no reserves. I had all these troops here, right? Either one, I break through the enemy like this, or two, I do the same thing I did last time, but I run out of steam and I have nothing to push my advantage. I just sit here and then I can get pushed back. The same goes for if I'm under attack, and instead of having all my troops here and then I lose everything, I have most of my troops here and they start losing. I bring in my reserves and then I beat them back. Don't be afraid to have reserves. Next thing, don't be afraid to retreat. You have this good position here. You have the bank. You're shooting down, but the force gets too great. You retreat back, reorganize, get your troops rested, and now you're ready to fight again. Like, be historical with it. This isn't Napoleon Total War. It doesn't take 2 minutes for your troop to go from exhausted to fresh. It takes multiple turns, which would be half an hour. Shit, it'd probably take 2 hours for your troops to get rested up fully, and then be ready to fight again, which is about 4 turns. Four turns an hour, so 8 turns probably to go from like fully exhausted, which is a bunch of hours of combat, back to even somewhat ready to fight. Don't be afraid to have reserves. Don't be afraid to retreat. Be smart about it. Don't sacrifice units. Like, you know, if you search any history video ever, you see they retreat. They have reserves. They make sure shit's happening, and there's the yeah. Just don't be afraid to retreat. Have reserves. Next thing we'll go about is generals. Difference between a general up here and a general back here. If you have a general on a hill, he can see farther, which means he'll be able to make more orders. If you have a general close up, he'll be more closer. Difference between here and here. He's elevated. He has a hill. He can see more of the battlefield. Telescope and all this shit. Here, right behind his troops, he can see about this much. Big difference. But if he's up here right behind his men or in front of his men, these guys are going to be much more inspired and much more willing to fight than these dudes. I mean, they'll still be inspired, They're professional soldiers in that shit, but, he has an inspirational effect on his men. And these dudes, if they start breaking, he'll go up. He'll lose that side advantage, but he'll do that. But these guys will fight more. There's a difference. But your general can fucking die. And if he is killed, these dudes are... They might break. They might just fucking leave at that point. Like, they're done. So we just went over structure, orders, battles. Recon. Man, use your light cav and look around the battlefield. Don't be afraid to... Alright, light cav, let's go over here. Oh, now I can... Now the light cav reports back to me. Boom, this is what I can see. Okay, great. Like, it's battlefield. It's a battle. It's war. Use reconnaissance. Get your artillery ready. Ask questions. Really, ask questions. If you want to know what shit is happening, ask questions. One thing that decides a battle, 3 things actually, is troop quality, troop morale, and veterancy. If you have all that shit and you know it, then boom. Biggest thing about leadership is like if you want to win, like know yourself, know your enemy, 1,000 battles, 1,000 victories. Sun Tzu. Boom. I think that's about it. Flanking, all that stuff. Tactics. Just search up military tactics and that stuff. There's Napoleonic tactic videos on the Discord. That's gonna be about it. 16-minute guide.